Riku was not a hero. He was not a soldier, or a leader, or even someone people remembered. He was just a quiet satellite mechanic from the mountains of Earth, who liked fixing old things and eating warm rice with fried fish. That day, he was floating in space, hundreds of kilometers above Earth. His small repair pod spun slowly around an old communications satellite that hadn't worked in years. He wore a plain gray suit with yellow stripes and had a small toolbox strapped to his belt. As he worked on the satellite's broken panel, he hummed a soft tune he heard as a child. He didn't know, far above him, in the cold dark, someone was watching, high above Earth's orbit, hidden behind the shadow of the moon. The giant black warship Zehurik waited. It belonged to the Loran Empire, a powerful alien civilization that ruled half the known galaxy. On its command deck stood Admiral Zeleri, one of the Empire's strongest leaders, tall, with silver skin and glowing green eyes. Zeleri was known for her sharp mind and cold heart. Her voice was calm like ice, and her words were always followed. Without question, prepare the disintegration beam, she ordered. Staring at Earth through the ship's main screen, a younger officer looked nervous. Admiral, are we targeting a living subject? Zeleri didn't blink. Yes, a small one. That human. She pointed at the screen where a tiny white figure floated next to the satellite. Riku. He is alone. No one will notice, Zeleri said. But why, Admiral? Zeleri turned slowly. Because I want to test how the human body reacts. The Empire needs answers. We must know if Earth is truly a threat. The officer nodded with shaking hands, charging the beam. Back in orbit, Riku was tapping a loose panel. He didn't notice the faint shimmer in the sky. His mind was busy thinking about how to fix the old wires. Suddenly, his panel made a strange sound. Bzzzzzzzt. A blue light burst out of the panel. Bright and hot, Riku gasped and tried to back away. But the satellite shook violently. Sparks flew. He grabbed a support bar to steady himself. Then a second light, larger and sharper, came from the blackness of space. It was the beam. But just as the disintegration beam reached Riku's position, it hit the energy spark from the satellite. Everything exploded. Inside the Zehurik, red. Let's flash, Admiral. The beam was reflected. Reflected, yes? The satellite caused an energy loop. The beam has returned. It's hitting the ship. Before anyone could react, a wave of blue-white energy flooded the control deck. It passed through Admiral Zeleri and vanished in a flash. Silence. Riku opened his eyes. But something was wrong. He wasn't floating anymore. He was lying inside a smooth, round chamber. The air was thick and warm, and soft blue lights blinked. Above his head, he sat up slowly and looked around. This wasn't Earth. A voice echoed in his mind. You are alive. Riku jumped. Who said that? Impossible. You are speaking inside my thoughts. Riku touched his head. Wait, you're in my head, and you are in mine. That's when Riku saw her. Through the chamber's glass, a tall alien figure stood. Silver skin, green eyes, a long dark robe. She was looking at him like he was a puzzle she didn't understand. Admiral Zeleri. Riku stared back. What did you do to me? Zeleri crossed her arms. I was trying to vaporize you. Not a great first impression. She blinked slowly. But now, we are linked. I do not understand how. Riku's mind felt strange. He could feel her thoughts, her feelings sharp like crystal, full of rules and silence. And he was sure she could feel his too messy. Curious, full of warm memories. How are we even talking like this? Riku asked. Zeleri looked away. The beam, the satellite, something combined our minds during the energy loop. So now I'm stuck in your head. No. We are fused. A pause. Riku blinked. Does that mean you can read everything I think? Yes. Well, this is awkward. Over the next few hours, Riku was moved to a private room inside the ship. It was large, but empty. No windows. No sharp objects. Clearly, they didn't trust him. Inside his head, Zeleri explained more. Their minds had combined in a rare phenomenon. It was called neural fusion. Something even Loran scientists feared. It only happened once every few thousand years. But this Case was worse. Riku hadn't just merged with Zeleri. He had also gained access to something called the Kill Switch Protocol. It was a secret system, hidden in Zeleri's mind, built to control the entire Lauren military in case of betrayal or collapse. Only top admirals could access it. Now, Riku had it too. Later, a small robot entered his room and gave him food. Riku sat in the quiet, poking at the strange glowing fruits and blue bread. "I'm just a mechanic," he whispered. "Why me?" "That is what I want to know too," Zeleri's voice answered. He sighed. "So, what happens now? If the council finds out what happened, they will destroy both of us." Riku dropped the bread. "What? We must hide the fusion and the kill switch until we find a cure or a plan." He stood and walked to the wall. "Well, if I'm stuck with you, at least let's make a deal." "A deal? Yeah, you don't try to vaporize me again, and I don't mess with your empire." Zeleri was quiet. Then her voice came, softer than before. "Agreed." Riku, he smiled a little. Somehow, the worst day of his life had turned into something much bigger. Riku sat on the smooth metal floor of the room, legs crossed, eyes closed. The lights above him glowed gently, and the walls around him hummed like they were breathing. He was not sleeping. He was trying to think, but it was not easy. Inside his mind, someone else was awake too. "Your brain is so noisy," said Admiral Zeleri's voice. "Calm and cold," Riku sighed. "And yours is like a frozen cave, empty and serious. I do not understand how your thoughts jump so fast. One moment food, next moment stars, then music, then socks." Riku opened one eye. "Well, I'm human. That's how we think." The fusion had changed everything. They could now speak without mouths, argue without sound, and even feel each other's emotions, though they both tried to hide that part. Riku had never felt so exposed. But strangely, he didn't feel alone. A soft ding echoed through the room. The door opened, and a short alien in a green robe entered. His eyes were large and blue, and his hands held a small round device. "I'm HFY, ship healer," he said. With a bow, "I will scan your brain." Riku raised his eyebrows. "You mean our brain?" Zeleri's voice echoed in his head. "Be silent. Do not reveal the fusion." HFY stepped forward. "Please place your hand on the orb." Riku hesitated, then did as told. The orb glowed and floated into the air. HFY looked at the readings. His face grew confused. "Strange. Your patterns match hers." Riku laughed nervously. "Maybe I'm just special." HFY frowned, then bowed again. "You may rest now." As he left, Riku whispered and sighed. "That was close. Too close. They will find out soon if we stay here." Later that day, Zeleri showed him parts of the ship using their mind link. She didn't want him to walk freely, but she needed him to understand the danger. Through her memories, he saw glowing halls, command decks, and training rooms. He even saw how the kill switch worked. Just a thought, and every Lauren ship, weapon, and drone could be turned off. Why would you build something so powerful? Riku asked. "To protect the Empire from traitors. It was never meant for one like you." "Well, lucky me," Riku joked. "Now I hold your galaxy's off switch. Do not be proud of that." In the quiet of the night, if it could be called night in space, Riku asked a question he had been thinking about for hours. "Do you feel anything?" "Feel? Yeah. I mean, you tried to kill me, but now we're connected. Does that affect you?" Zeleri was silent. Then she answered slowly, "I feel confused." Riku smiled. "Good. That means you're not just a machine." She didn't reply, but deep inside, he sensed something like a small crack in her wall of ice. The next day, strange things began to happen. As Riku walked in the hallway under guard, one of the ship officers stared at him longer than usual. Another whispered something to a second officer. Inside his mind, Zeleri sounded worried. "They are starting to notice. My behavior is changing. They see it because I'm in your head. Because you are soft, emotional. Your thoughts are mixing with mine. I gave a speech this morning and I smiled. They have never seen me smile." Riku laughed. "Well, welcome to being human." "It is not welcome. It is dangerous." Later, inside her private chamber, Zoleri appeared before him in person. She wore a long silver robe now instead of her black command suit. Her face was calm, but her eyes showed something new doubt. "You cannot stay here," she said. "I agree." Riku replied, "I need to go back to Earth." She shook her head. "No, if you go, the Council will find you. They will detect the fusion. You are too close to me. They may erase both our minds to fix this. Then what do? We escape. Together." Riku blinked. "You want to run from your own empire. I must protect the kill switch, and I must protect what is inside me now." She touched her temple. "You?" Riku stared at her. "Are you saying you care?" "I do not know, but I do not want you to die." They made a plan. There was a small scout ship in the lower dock rarely used. They would fake a system failure and crash it into a dead moon nearby. It would look like an accident. Riku would pilot. Zoleri would use her command code to disable alarms. The plan had to be perfect. That night, as alarms rang and engineers rushed to fix fake fuel leaks, Riku slipped into the scout ship with Zoleri. The door sealed. The engines lit. Riku sat in the pilot's seat, sweating. "Okay, left is turn. Right is wait. No? That's the stop thinking so loudly." Zoleri's voice scolded inside him. He laughed nervously and guided the ship out of the dock. As they flew toward the dead moon, red lights began to flash. "Security!" Riku shouted. "Faster!" They rushed toward the rocky moon. Behind them, one small patrol drone followed. Inside the ship, controls began to shake. The crash had to look real but not kill them. Riku aimed for a valley. "Hold on." The ship slammed into the ground, sliding across the dust before stopping with a loud crash. Silence. They were alive. As dust rose around them, Riku pulled off his helmet and looked at Zoleri. "You sure know how to make a first impression." She looked back, then said softly, "We are alive because of you." He smiled. "And we're not done yet." Above them, the stars waited. Together, to minds. And one body had just escaped an empire. And their real journey was only beginning. The moon was cold, silent, and covered in gray dust. Jagged rocks surrounded the broken scout ship like sharp teeth. Smoke rose from the damaged engine. But inside the cockpit, Riku and Admiral Zoleri were still alive. Riku groaned and sat up, slowly, rubbing his shoulder. "Okay, that was not the smoothest landing." Zoleri opened her eyes and looked around. "We are safe, for now." They had escaped the Lauren warship just in time. The fake crash tricked the security systems. The Empire believed they were gone dead, most likely. But the truth was different. Now, they were hiding on a forgotten moon at the edge of a quiet system. Over the next few hours, Riku explored the ship to see what could still work. The food machine was broken. The heat panels were cracked. One of the small sleeping pods was crushed. "Well," he said, sitting beside the warmest corner, "it's not a hotel, but it's home for now." Zoleri stood nearby, looking at the stars through a broken window. She was quiet, as always, but Riku could feel her thoughts through their shared mind. She was thinking too much. "Are you worried they'll find us?" Riku asked. "Not yet," she answered in her usual calm voice. "But they will search." Riku leaned back. "Then we better fix the ship before they do." The days passed slowly. On the first day, Riku tried to fix the communication system, using pieces from a damaged drone. Zoleri helped him by sending technical data into his mind. At first, it was strange. He would reach for a wire and suddenly know where it should go, like a ghost hand was guiding him. "It's like you're my teacher," he joked. "I'm your mind partner," she replied. Riku laughed. "That sounds like a bad science fiction movie." On the second day, they found a small energy cell still working. With it, they powered a heater and the lights in one corner of the ship. They sat there in silence, both thinking. Then, for the first time, Zoleri asked a personal question. "What was your life like before this?" Riku blinked. "Mine, it was simple. I fixed things. Lived alone in a cabin. Watched stars at night. No family. Not anymore. My parents passed. I had friends, but I liked the quiet." Zoleri was quiet for a moment, then said, I understand now why your thoughts are full of sky and memories. Riku looked at her. What about you? Were you always this serious? Yes. I was trained from childhood. Emotion was weakness, order was strength. He nodded. But you're not like that anymore, are you? She didn't answer. But, deep in their mind, Riku felt something soft, like a memory she didn't want to share. On the third day, they faced their first real problem. A signal dot came from space. A scanner on the ship beeped once, then went silent. Riku rushed to the control panel. That's not a good sound. Larry moved beside him. It was a scan pulse, not Lauren, smaller. Probably a bounty hunter. Riku frowned. Someone's looking for us. We must leave this moon soon, Larry said. But the ship's engine is still broken. They sat in silence for a while. Then, Riku stood up. Then we fix it, together. For the next 2 days, they worked side by side. Riku used his hands. His knowledge of wires and circuits. Larry used her memory of Lauren technology. And when something didn't work, they searched their shared mind for answers. It was strange. Like solving a puzzle with 2 brains. Sometimes, Riku would start a sentence, and Larry would finish it. Sometimes, she would feel confused, and Riku would help her understand emotions. She had never named before hope, guilt, curiosity. At night, they rested in shifts. But inside their mind, they were never truly alone. On the 6th day, the bounty hunter came. It was a small ship, black and fast. It landed on the far side of the moon and sent out a drone to scan the crash site. Riku and Larry watched from inside. The ship, we can't fight, Riku whispered. We will outsmart it. They turned off all lights, covered the heat panels with sand, and hid inside the coldest part of the ship. Larry used her mind to send fake signals and echo of the crash. A false energy trail. The drone passed by once, then again, then flew away. After 2 hours, the bounty hunter's ship left the moon. Riku let out a breath. We did it, Larry nodded. Yes, because we thought together. That night, they sat near the heater again. Riku gave her a piece of dry fruit from his emergency pack. She tasted it and said, sweet, strange. Riku smiled. It's from Earth. A mango slice. She looked at the stars. Your world is small, but full of feelings. He looked at her. And your world is big, but lonely. They said nothing for a while. Then Riku said, when we escape this place, where will we go? Larry replied, there's a place, a hidden planet, rebels, outcasts, people who remember peace. Riku nodded. Can they help us? Maybe. But they will be afraid of me. I'll speak for you. She looked at him. Why would you do that? Because you didn't kill me. He said with a small grin. And because now, we're something new. Larry didn't smile, but her eyes softened. The next morning, the engine HUMMED. It was weak, but it worked. Riku sat in the pilot's seat. Larry sat beside him. The small scout ship lifted off the gray moon slowly, dust rising beneath them. As the stars grew larger outside the window, Riku felt something in his chest, something light. Hope. They had escaped the Empire. They had survived. The moon. Now, they were heading toward a place where peace might still live. 2 minds, 1 brain, and a galaxy full of secrets waiting ahead. The small scout ship drifted through quiet space, away from the broken moon. Inside, Riku sat at the control seat, watching stars pass slowly. Beside him, Admiral Larry stared ahead, silent as usual. But something was different. They were not just running anymore. They had a destination. A planet called Nali Ru. It did not exist on most maps. The Lauren Empire had erased it long ago, calling it unfit for civilization. But in truth, Naliru had become a place for those who had escaped the Empire's control, rebels, thinkers, scientists, and even some Lauren who remembered the days before the Empire turned cold. Are you sure they'll let us land? Riku asked. They will not trust me, Larry replied inside his mind. But they may listen to you. Riku smiled slightly. Great, me, the mechanic from Earth, now speaking for a powerful alien admiral. You are more than that now. He looked at her. You almost sounded kind just now. She didn't answer, But Riku felt a small shift in her thoughts like a ripple on still water. After 2 days of slow travel, the scout ship reached a quiet green planet, half covered in misty clouds. As they entered the atmosphere, gentle lights blinked on the control screen. "They're scanning us," Zoleri said. A message appeared on the screen. "A known ship. State your name and purpose." Riku cleared his throat. "This is Riku. I'm not from here. We request safe landing." There was a long pause. Then a second message appeared. "Riku, we know that name. You may land." Zoleri looked at him with surprise. "They know you? I guess news travels fast." The ship landed on a wide flat rock near a river. The air was fresh, with the smell of green leaves and wet soil. Strange birds flew in the sky, and tall trees waved in the wind. A group of people stood waiting nearby. Some looked human. Others were tall and pale with silver marks on their skin. Lauren, one of them, stepped forward. She had short hair, blue eyes, and wore simple brown robes. "I'm Sina," she said. "Welcome to Naliru." She looked at Riku, then at Zoleri. "You are the one joined with the Admiral?" Riku nodded. "Yes, we didn't plan it, but now we are one mind." Sina studied Zoleri with careful eyes. "And you helped build the kill switch." Zoleri didn't deny it. "I did. And you brought him here." "He brought me." Sina paused. Then she nodded slowly. "Come, you are safe here for now." Inside the village, Riku saw gardens, workshops, and people building machines from old metal. Children played under big trees. Some even smiled at him. It was peaceful, real. Later, they were taken to a round room where a group of elders sat. One of them spoke. "You carry something dangerous." Riku nodded. "We know. That's why we came." Another elder said, "The kill switch could destroy the Empire's control. It could give freedom back to millions." Zoleri replied, "Or cause chaos." The system was not built to be used by someone like him. Riku frowned. "I didn't ask for this, but now I have it. So what do we do?" The elders looked at one another. Sina stepped forward. "We need time to think. Rest here for now." That night, Riku sat near a warm fire outside their small hut. Children laughed in the distance. Music played softly from a flute. He felt calm but also unsure. Zoleri sat beside him. "This place," she said aloud for the first time that day, "feels like something I remember, long ago." "You mean before the Empire changed?" Riku asked. She nodded. "We were not always a cold people. Long ago, the Lorens sang songs, painted skies, and lived in harmony. Then came war. Fear changed everything." Riku looked at the stars. "Humans are the same. We forget peace when we're scared." She turned to him. "You help me remember. Your thoughts are full of music and kindness." He smiled. "And yours are full of logic and discipline? Maybe we're the perfect mix." She looked at him for a moment, then said softly, "Maybe." The next morning, Sina called them to a special chamber. A large stone table stood in the center, covered with glowing symbols. Around it sat the elders. "We have made a decision," Sina said. Riku stood straight. Zoleri remained still. Sina continued. "We believe you must use the kill switch. Not now, but soon. The Empire is growing more cruel. If we wait too long, many will suffer." Riku asked, "How will we reach the center? We're still wanted." An elder replied, "There are people inside the Empire who secretly wish for change. We will send you to them. They can help." Zoleri stepped forward. "You are risking everything for me." "Why?" Sina answered. "Because we remember who you were before, and we see who you are becoming now." For the next few days, Riku and Zoleri stayed on Naliru. They helped repair machines and shared stories. Riku taught children how to build toy rockets. Zoleri explained how to read star maps. One night, Riku played soft music from a small earth recorder. The tune was slow, with the sound of wind and water. People gathered around to listen. Zoleri closed her eyes. In their shared mind, Riku felt her emotions soft and deep. "What are you feeling?" he asked. "Something. I thought I had lost hope." "Yes," before they left, Sina gave them a small silver box. "This is the memory crystal of Naliru. It holds the truth about our world and what the Empire did. Share it when the time is right. Riku took it with care. We won't let you down. Sina smiled. I believe that. Zeleri bowed her head. Thank you for reminding me who I was. As the ship lifted off from Naliru, Riku looked at the peaceful world below. We're not just running anymore, he said. No, Zeleri agreed. Now we are moving towards something. Change, yes, and maybe something better. Above them, the stars waited once again. But this time, they were not just to minds running. They were to minds walking toward a brighter galaxy. The stars stretched endlessly ahead as the small scout ship moved silently through space. Inside, Riku sat at the control panel while Zeleri stood beside him. Her eyes focused on the blackness outside. They had left Naliru, carrying not only the kill switch hidden in their shared mind, but also a silver memory crystal containing the truth about the Empire's past. The ship now followed quiet coordinates sent by Sina coordinates that would lead them to those who lived inside the Empire but worked against it. These secret allies were called the Hidden Root. Zeleri knew of them only by whispers. They were once soldiers, scientists, and thinkers, she said. Now they move like shadows. If they trust us, they can guide us closer to the central chamber. Riku leaned back. And once we get there, we decide the fate of an entire empire. After 3 days of silent travel, the ship reached a quiet asteroid field. Hidden between two large rocks was a station shaped like a circle. No lights blinked. No sounds came. But the moment their ship entered the area, a message appeared on the screen. You are being watched. State your purpose. Zeleri replied quickly, using an old code only high-ranking officers knew. The reply came. Land slowly. No weapons. No lies. Riku raised an eyebrow. Friendly bunch. They have reasons to be careful, Zeleri replied. Inside the station, the walls were dark metal, but clean. Silent guards stood on both sides. Some were Lauren. Others were different species Riku didn't know, short ones with glowing eyes, tall ones with 6 arms, even a human or two. They were taken to a quiet chamber where a woman waited. Her skin was deep gray, and her eyes glowed soft blue. She wore a simple robe and carried a thin silver staff. I am Liraya, she said, leader of the Hidden Root. She looked at Zeleri for a long time. Admiral, or perhaps former Admiral. Zeleri bowed her head slightly. I am not your enemy, and yet you build the system that chokes us. Riku stepped forward. She didn't come to use the kill switch. She came to stop it from being misused. Liraya's eyes narrowed. And you, human, do you control it now? I don't want to, Riku said honestly, but it's in my head now. With hers, Liraya nodded. Then your mind is the most dangerous thing in the galaxy. Over the next few hours, Riku and Zeleri shared everything. The fusion accident, the escape, the journey to Naliru, the kill, switch, even the crystal. Liraya listened carefully. Then she said, we always hoped someone from the inside would come, but we didn't expect it to be 2 minds in one. Zeleri replied, we didn't expect it either. Liraya stepped forward. We have news. The Lauren Council has discovered your escape. They do not know your exact location, but they are searching every system near the edge. They have sent a message across the Empire. Capture the Admiral alive. Destroy the human if possible. Riku felt a chill. They still don't know we're linked. No, Liraya said, but that secret won't stay hidden forever. That evening, Riku sat in a quiet room. It was small, but peaceful, with a soft light on the ceiling and a clear screen showing distant stars. Zeleri sat across from him. Are you scared? She asked. Yes, Riku said. A little. You hide it well. You don't. She tilted her head. I do not understand. How you stay calm. Riku looked down. I don't always. I just keep moving forward. There was a pause. Then Zeleri said, if the council captures us, they will separate our minds. You may not survive, I know. And still, you are here. Riku looked at her. Because you are here. And because I believe this can change things. She didn't reply. But he felt something deep inside her mind. Not fear, something warmer. Something like trust. The next day, Liraya gathered the members of the Hidden root dot in a large circular room. Dozens of rebels stood, watching Riku and Zeleri. Liraya raised her hand. Today, we ask the question, do we use the kill switch, or do we wait and watch? As the Empire tightens its hold, one older Lauren stepped forward. If we use it, millions may panic. Chaos will follow. A young human woman spoke up. But if we wait, more planets will fall. More voices will be silenced. An insect like being clicked its arms. Let the mind sharers decide. They hold the power. All eyes turned to Riku and Zeleri. Riku took a breath. We don't want to destroy. We want to restart. Zeleri stepped forward. The kill switch is not just an off button. It can pause the Empire's machines, its weapons, long enough for peace to speak. Liraya nodded. Then we must reach the central command. Only there can the signal spread to all corners. But it's deep inside the Empire, Riku said. And well guarded, added Zeleri. Liraya smiled. Then it's a good thing we know a secret way in. That night, Riku couldn't sleep. He stared at the ceiling, thinking about Earth, the mountains, the old cabin, and the stars he used to watch. So much had changed, and yet, a part of him still felt like that quiet mechanic. Zeleri sat near him, reading data from a glowing panel. He spoke softly. Do you ever wish we could go back? To what? She asked. To simple days. She was quiet for a moment. Then she said, yes, but perhaps simple days will come again after this. Riku smiled. I like that. She looked at him. And what will you do if peace comes? I'll go back home. Maybe fix satellites again. Maybe write a book. She tilted her head. A book? Yeah. I'll call it The Alien Admiral Who Tried to Vaporize Me Then Shared My Brain. Zeleri actually smiled. Just a little dot as their ship prepared for the journey toward the Empire's heart. Liraya handed Riku a small silver ring. This will hide your energy signal. Only use it when you're close. Riku took it. Thank you. Zeleri turned to Liraya. If we fail, you won't. Riku and Zeleri looked at each other. To minds. One brain. One mission. Ahead of them, the Empire waited. But now, the choice was no longer just between power and silence. It was a choice of minds, and the galaxy was listening. The journey back to Naliru was quiet, but not peaceful. Riku and Zeleri knew that the Empire was watching every border, every trade lane, and every open signal. They had used the hidden root stealth ring to mask their ship, but time was not on their side. The Empire had already started gathering ships above Naliru. The Council had guessed their next move. They were preparing for war. Riku checked the control screen. 5 capital ships, and more are coming. Zeleri looked serious. We must go down to the planet before they surround it completely. The control tower is deep inside the central chamber. That's where the signal must be sent. Riku nodded. Then we don't run. We drop straight in. As they neared the planet, alarms began to beep. A loud voice filled the cockpit. Unidentified. Ship, you are entering restricted space. Turn around or be destroyed. Riku kept flying. They don't know it's us yet. Zeleri tapped a button. The screen showed a sharp path through the lower clouds. Use the storm cover. It will block their scans for a few minutes. The small ship dived. Above them, Empire fighters started to move. Below, the clouds turned dark, flashing with lightning. Riku gripped the controls tightly as the ship shook. Zeleri stared ahead. Hold steady. They cut through the clouds like a silver arrow, lightning flashing around them. The ship came out of the storm just above Naliru's capital. The city below had changed. Tall metal towers were surrounded by defense lines. Empire guards stood on rooftops. Drones buzzed like flies in the air. The Empire turned the city into a fortress. Riku said, there. Zeleri pointed. Landing pad 47. It's close to the control tower. If we land fast and go underground, we can reach the signal chamber without being seen. The ship dropped quickly, but just before landing, a blast hit the tail. Shield down. Riku shouted. They spotted us. Zeleri looked at the smoke behind them. We're still alive. Move. They jumped out, running toward a small metal door hidden behind a supply crate. Zeleri pressed her hand to the wall. A blue light scanned her palm, then clicked. The door opened. Inside, the path was narrow and dark. Old service tunnels ran below. The city paths only the high commanders knew. These were made during the war, Zoleri said. Most people don't even know they exist. As they moved, footsteps echoed behind them. They're following, Riku whispered. Zoleri pulled out a map from her memory. 3 turns left. Then we reached the control chamber. Riku nodded. Let's hope no one is guarding it. They reached a wide door with ancient markings. It was round and metallic, and its center glowed faintly. This is it, Zoleri whispered. But as she stepped forward, something flickered on the other side of the room. A figure appeared. A Lauren officer in a dark uniform, tall and cold, with sharp blue eyes. Admiral Zoleri, he said, you brought a human to the core of the Empire. Zoleri stepped in front of Riku. Move aside, Commander Renal. We don't want to fight. Renal smiled. The council expected you would come here. That's why I'm here. To stop you. Zoleri's eyes narrowed. Then stop me. But you won't win? Renal looked at Riku. Is it true? You share her mind. Riku stepped forward. Yes, and we have the signal. We can end the weapons. The Empire doesn't have to keep ruling with fear. Renal laughed. Fear keeps order. No. Riku said calmly. Fear breaks everything. But choice builds peace. There was silence. Then Renal's hand moved to his side. Riku froze. But instead of a weapon, Renal pulled out a small data chip. He held it up. I disagree with the council, he said. I've disagreed for years, but I had no power to act. He stepped forward and placed the chip in Zoleri's hand. This holds the unlock code for the chamber. Without it, you can't send the signal. Zoleri looked shocked. Why help us now? Because the system you and I built, it turned into something else. And because this human speaks truth. Riku blinked. That's new. Renal smirked. Don't waste time. The control chamber lit up as the doors opened. Inside was a round room, filled with floating screens and a glowing sphere in the center. This is the signal core. Zoleri said, place your hand on it. Think the command. Riku walked slowly to the sphere. Are you ready? Zoleri's voice echoed in his mind. We do this together. He placed his hand on the surface. The light turned gold. A deep hum filled the air. Images appeared. Maps of the Empire. Lists of commands. Systems waiting for order. Riku took a deep breath. Here we go. He closed his eyes and thought the words Zoleri taught him. Pause all offensive control systems. Cancel weapon chains. Release restricted AI paths. The light grew brighter. Then dashed silence. Outside, across the planet, weapons deactivated. Drones fell silent. Ship engines powered down. Towers stopped glowing. Above the planet, the 5 capital ships stopped moving. Pilots looked at their screens. In confusion, messages blinked across all systems. Signal paused by Central Command. Awaiting civil directive. Inside the chamber, Riku collapsed to one knee. The glow faded. It worked, he said softly. Zoleri helped him up. You did it? No, Riku said. We did. Renal stood at the door. They'll send scouts soon. You must leave before the council reacts. Zoleri nodded. We will. But we've shown them something new. Hope? Renal asked. Choice? Zoleri replied. They returned to the landing pad. The hidden route had sent a small craft sleek and fast. Lurai's voice came through the radio. You've done what no one else dared. Come home. It's time to plan. What comes next? Riku looked at Zoleri as they boarded the ship. Do you think the Empire will listen? Maybe not at first, she said. But the signal is out. Minds are changing. As the ship rose into the sky, they looked down at Naliru one last time. The planet was quiet. The Empire was no longer moving. The stars above were waiting. The small craft flew through space, leaving the quiet planet of Naliru behind. Inside the ship, Riku looked out the window, thinking about everything that had happened. They had stopped the Empire's weapons. For the first time, the galaxy felt like it could breathe again. Beside him, Zoleri sat quietly. Her hands rested on her lap, but her mind was still connected to Riku's. They both felt the same thing in certainty. Do you think they'll come after us? Riku asked. They might, Zoleri said. But the signal we sent cannot be erased. Every commander, every officer, every planet under the Empire's rule. They all saw it. Riku leaned back. So now we wait? No, Zeleri said firmly. Now we speak. The ship arrived at a secret station called Chorus Point, hidden in the orbit of a dead moon. It was small, but safe. Inside, the members of the hidden route waited. Rhea, the elder leader, welcomed them with a nod. You have done more than we dreamed, Riku, and you, Zeleri, have changed the future of your people. Zeleri bowed slightly. The future is not decided yet. Lyraya pointed toward a screen showing star maps and flickering messages. News is spreading. Some planets are silent. Others are asking questions. One colony has already declared independence from the Empire. Riku was surprised. That fast? Hope spreads fast. When fear is paused, Lyraya said, over the next few days, messages poured into Chorus Point. Some were angry. Some were confused. But many asked the same thing. What happens now? Riku sat at a table with Zeleri and Lyraya. They looked at the words on the screen. Zeleri spoke first. We can't leave them guessing. We need to talk to them all. Lyraya raised an eyebrow. The Empire Council still holds power. You want to speak to them, yes? Riku said, if they hear us. Maybe others will too. Lyraya nodded slowly. Then you must go to the Circle of Echoes. The Circle of Echoes was a place where leaders met through a shared signal. Not in person, but through holograms, faces, and voices from every empire. System, it was used only in great emergencies. Zeleri's rank gave her access. Riku's link to her mind gave him permission to speak. As they connected, one by one, the holograms began to appear. 12 glowing forms surrounded them, alien faces of all shapes, calm, cold, quiet. Zeleri stepped forward. I speak not to challenge your power, but to offer another path. A tall figure with a shining robe answered. You broke our law. You used a forbidden signal. Why should we listen? Riku took a breath and stepped beside Zeleri. Because people are listening to us now. Not out of fear, but because we gave them a choice. Another voice spoke. The human, Riku. You were nothing, and now you hold a part of our mind. You could have destroyed us. Why didn't you? Riku looked around at the glowing faces. Because that's not who I am, and it's not who you have to be. Silence filled the chamber. Then one voice asked softly, what do you want? Zeleri answered, we want a council of peace, a system, where each world speaks, not just obeys, where humans and other species are treated as more than tools. Riku added, we want the Empire to change, not be destroyed. The faces looked at each other. Then the first voice replied, your words are dangerous, but true. One by one, the holograms blinked out. Zeleri sighed. Now we wait again. No. Riku said, now we prepare. In the next weeks, something new began to grow. Some planets sent messages of support. Others asked for help to build their own councils. Riku and Zeleri became symbols, not rulers, but messengers of change. They visited border colonies. Riku spoke with miners, farmers, and workers. Zeleri met with ex-commanders who wanted to fix their past mistakes. The hidden root grew stronger. But more importantly, the fear grew weaker. One day, as they sat under the soft light of a twin sun, on a peaceful moon, Riku turned to Zeleri. Do you miss being a leader of the Empire? Zeleri looked at the sky. I miss knowing what comes next. But I don't miss what I had to do to keep control. She looked at Riku. Do you miss Earth? Riku laughed. I miss food that doesn't glow, and trees. But no, not really. Not anymore. They sat in silence for a moment. Then Zeleri asked, do you ever wonder what we'll be like years from now? Still sharing thoughts? Riku nodded. I think we'll understand each other even more. Maybe that's what peace means. Not always agreeing, but always listening. A few weeks later, a message came from the Core Council. A single sentence. We will listen. Begin your plan. Zeleri closed her eyes. It begins. Riku stood tall. So what's the first step? Lyraya handed them a data crystal. We call the first open gathering. A place where humans, Lorens, and all others speak without fear. Riku smiled. Let's choose a place with trees. I've been missing those. Everyone laughed. As the gathering began, people from many species filled the field. No guards, no weapons. Only voices, open and clear. Zeleri spoke with pride. This is not the end of the Empire. This is the beginning of something better. Riku stepped forward. We were enemies. We became one mind. And now, we offer unity to all. Applause rose not forced. Not fearful but real. And under the open stars. Something new was born. The end.